Alright, so in the last video we added a couple of photos to adjust our template, and in this video I'm going to cover editing the text. Alright, whether that's changing the fonts, changing the color, the spacing. We're going to go through all that in this video. Real simple stuff, but it's important to go over so you understand it. Now, there's a few ways to change the text. The one way, like I showed you in one of the earlier videos, is to select the text tool and click here where that text is, and then if I either double click, okay, it'll select it, or I can start here and hold the left button on the mouse to select everything. Now I prefer now this if I'm going to change the actual text. Okay, now if I'm going to change the font or the color or the size, I prefer to select it here and come here and open the character window. Now if you don't have the character window, which is the little A here with the bar next to it, come up here to window, okay, and select character, and it'll pop up. Now it may not pop up right here, okay, it may pop up here. If you want to lock it there, just drag it right into this bar. See how that blue shows up? Drag it right there and that'll dock it there, and then you can just quickly open it, okay, have it pop up by clicking there, and that's what I do. So now I've got this text selected, and I'm gonna go ahead and let me show you here. I can go ahead and just click on the color, okay, and if I want to change it to like a darker blue, okay, or I can move this and now it's like a purple color, or if I want to get crazy with like red, okay, and I can do this all here. Now if I want to keep the red color, click OK. If I don't, I just click cancel. Now if you have a certain color, okay, you want to keep, you can type the color number here, or you can go ahead and use the color picker. So if I have a color that's already in the image and I want that color, the color of the text here to kind of match a color here that's already here in the image, like if I click here, I'll kind of get this black, okay, and it matches that exact color. Or if I click on these little things on the side of the road, these markers, okay, it'll match that yellow color. So now if I were to click OK, now my text color matches that color. Now in this photo there really isn't a color that say I want to match, okay, but in other images that you use there might be a color scheme you're going for that matches. I'm going to go ahead and find, let's see if we can find, that's not going to work. Go ahead and go back to this blue for now, and then we'll go with a little bit of like a darker blue, okay, like a navy. There we go. And then I'm going to have to do the same thing here with the New York Times, because right now it's just not dark enough of a color to show up here against this cloud gray background. So select that, and now I can come here, and that's fine. It's going to change the font, so we'll go ahead and change that here in a second. So I'm just going to go ahead and by going all the way to the corner here with all the zeros, that just makes it black. Okay, now let's go ahead and adjust this font. You can see if I want to make it larger, okay, I have the cabin font selected. I can go ahead and I have a bunch of, I don't know why, but if I want to change, I don't know why I have all these different models, but you should just have, like, if I want to make it italic, okay, and then if I wanted to adjust the size, I can go ahead and choose the size here with the little arrow on the side, and you see that the font size is getting bigger. The other thing I can do is if I just hold the left button on my mouse and drag it, okay, left to right, it gets bigger or smaller. So if I want to just go one by one by one, okay, I can drag it to whatever size I want, or I can choose it here, or if I double click there and I want to put it, maybe say I want it 6, I can just enter 6 and hit enter, and it'll change that size. Let's just go with like a 12 point or 11 point font right now, and I'm gonna go with semi bold. And the other thing you can do here is spacing. Okay, so maybe I want the individual space between each letter to be a little closer, so I'm gonna choose here, and you see how I go from 265 to 145, and the individual space between each letter, it condenses, okay, the text. Same thing goes if I select John Doe. Okay, now I can go ahead and I'm on 36 point font. Let's say I want to go to 40. Okay, see how it gets a little bigger. Okay, now if I want to change the font, I can go ahead and do that. And if I use Open Sans, okay, now let's say I want to use bold. Okay, a little thicker, and then right now I'm at 100, so I can go to 80, 60, 40, and you can see it condenses, eliminates how much space there is between each letter. I can go into negative numbers. Okay, so I can go negative 20, negative 100. I started at 100. Okay, and you see here as I get closer to negative 100, I get to the point where my letters are just, okay, some letters like a D and an O are going to touch, but these others are just going to have a sliver of space. So I probably don't want to go that close, but if I want them real condensed and bold so this kind of stands out, I can go ahead and really get the tracking here, it's called, of the characters, and eliminate the space between each letter. Or if I want a lot of space between each letter, okay, now you see the big difference. And of course, if I hit the little arrow here, I can go to different preset numbers. So minus 75 looks good. You can see my J here is coming down, so I'm going to hit the arrow key and slightly move this up. Okay, now let's go a little bigger here. So I'm at 40, we'll go to 48. Okay, and there we go. What you can also do here is if you have text, like you see this text layer, let's say that with this layer I have another line below it, okay, with a title, Nick, let's say this Scott, let's say this book has 2 authors. Now what I prefer to do is to have 2 separate layers for each line of text, but what you can also do if you have, say, a longer paragraph, like for a description, okay, say you have a few sentences, with these 2 selected here, this one here is the spacing between characters, this one here is the spacing between lines. So you see here 0, if I auto it, there's that space between the line that says John Doe and the line that says Nick Scott. If I go ahead and adjust this to 43, that brings it a little closer. Okay, 36 brings it to where they're almost touching. Okay, just showing you how to adjust the text here. Now, like I said, I prefer to have, if I'm going to have 2 pieces of text, I prefer to have them in separate lines, in separate layers, just because it's easier and I can really, with detail, move and adjust each layer to the point where I don't even have to use, okay, like as an example here, John Doe, I'll go ahead and duplicate that layer. All I did there is right click and choose duplicate. Okay, so now I have 2 layers, but they're on top of each other, so it looks like one. Okay, I'd rather have 2 separate layers so I can really fine tune. Now I'm using the arrow key, okay, moving that, or I can move it side to side, okay, or I can pretty much put it wherever I want to. So if I'm going to use, okay, say I had 2 authors, if I'm going to use 2 lines, I'll use 2 separate layers. But just so you know how to use it, there is spacing here. Alright, so I don't need the second layer. Right click here, delete, like I showed you in the last video. Okay, and real quick, let's see, and we're going with this darker blue, this navy blue. I want to change road here. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and see what happens. It's going to change my font, which is fine. But you see I can just use the color picker. So if I want to match this color here, I just click right on the O in John Doe, the blue there, and it'll change to that blue. Now I still have that outer glow that's a light blue, and I'll show you how to do that coming up, how to change that. Alright, now the other thing I can do here is we're going to go ahead and we're going to change this to highway. So I just selected it. Okay, now you see what happened. I changed it to highway. It doesn't fit. Okay, So we're going to get off of Myriad Pro and we're going to use let's try Babies. There we go. But it's still a little too big, so if I go ahead here, I'll go down to, I want to get an exact number here, so we'll go to 108. Okay, go ahead and leave highway where it's at. Cold is a little in the way, so we're going to move it up. And if I want to increase the size of that, okay, I'm at 59.17. I'll get the even number to 60, and then I'll just drag here to the right while holding the left button on my mouse, and I can keep going a little bigger. And you see here when I use this character window, I can kind of eyeball it and see what my changes do, whereas if I select the text and change the font, it doesn't give me quite the same look and feel. Okay, and if I say I wanted these letters spaced out a little further between each one, okay, 95, let's go to 100, and we'll go to 100. You see what I'm doing here, it's just changing the text. Let's say I want them a little closer, a little tighter. Okay, so I go back down to 0, bring them a little closer and tighter. Alright, in the next video I'll get into the styles and this background color here, the little shadow outer glow we've got coming from the back of highway.